And welcome to the Hot Seat of College Football Show. I am Trent, your host, on a special edition, something we have not done at all this year. I want to talk about our top 5 Heisman prediction, who I think the top 5 Heisman candidates are for this season. If you have not already, please hit subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you get a notification every single time I release a video. It really helps me want to grow this channel when I see that there's support coming back. Make sure you hit the like button and let me know any ideas in the comments about anything, either top 25s, playoff bracket predictions, anything that you guys want me to cover. Just let me know down in the comments. But for today, a special episode of what I think the top 5 of the Heisman odds are. I made a special graphic just for today, so we're going to bring it up right now. What would this be? This would be like after week 7 into week 8 of what my top 5 of the Heisman odds are. And we're going to go from 5 to 1. And before we even do that, we're going to do some honorable mentions. So a couple guys that were right off this list were some guys like CJ Carr, Julian Sand, and then I think the other one was, who was it? I think it wasn't Brett Morton. I think it was, it was Dante Moore, one of the guys that kind of just fell off of this list. So let us talk about 5 through 1. So at number 5, and a guy that has been very impressive, a guy that's really impressed me throughout the season, is Marcel Reed. If you are kind of more of a Big Ten guy, maybe you haven't watched a lot of A&M, I would actually recommend you to. This is not the same A&M as we've known over the past decade. This ain't even the same A&M that we knew from last year that was very kind of offensively inept up sometimes. And a lot of that was receiver health and receiver depth, and then quarterback health. And if you remember A&M last year, they started off the season with Connor Wegman, who's now the starter at Houston. But they bench him, and then Marcel Reed comes in last year for, I think it was the Missouri game. Absolutely kill Missouri. Marcel Reed is now the bona fide starter. They were iffy last year. They finished the year 8-4, which of course they do. They finish every year 8-4. But so far they are, I think, 5-0. I think they're actually 6-0. But they are number 4 in the country. They are the highest ranked SEC team. Them and Alabama have looked like the best 2 SEC teams. And actually, talking about another honorable mention with Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss, they looked really bad against Washington State. I get they're looking ahead to Georgia, but I want to see a little bit more from Trinidad. Also, he has not played the entire year. But Marcel Reed has played for the entire year, and statistically, I mean, out of QBR, he's 41st, so maybe not the highest QBR, but he's a 1,500-yard passer with 12 touchdowns to 4 picks. And actually, let me see how many rushing. He probably has a lot of rushing. He has 3 rushing touchdowns. He had 1 last week against Florida. And really, A&M has been really impressive. They are going to play. Who do they play this week? A&M will play. Do I even have their thing up? No. Who does A&M play this week? Arkansas. Okay, so they're playing a rivalry game on the road at Arkansas, and actually kind of a rejuvenated Arkansas team when they fired Sam Pittman, and now Petrino is the interim. So look out for maybe this A&M Arkansas game. I'm pretty sure it's a neutral site game, even though Arkansas is the home team. But I got Marcel Reed at 5. I really think he did really good with Concepcion and Craver. I think the receiver help is really boosting his stats, but he's at 5. Now at number 4, I have Ty Simpson. He is the quarterback out of Alabama, and really a guy that kind of, I'm not going to say came out of nowhere, but I mean, really remember, this was a quarterback battle between him and Austin Mack, and people didn't really know if Ty Simpson was going to, I mean, we knew he was going to be good. Was he going to be great? I mean, we really didn't know. Obviously, he never started over Miller. He did look good in garbage time against FCS teams last year when I think they played like Mercer. So I think he was a little bit promising. His QBR is really high at 81.5. It is the 16th highest, and not that QBR really means a ton. But he does have 16 touchdowns to only one interception. That one interception, it was a bad pick. It came against Vanderbilt. But he is almost a 1,700 yard passer. And really, I mean, he could be higher on this list. I mean, it really just, we'll see how the season goes. But I mean, with their schedule, they do have the opportunity to go against a bunch of really good defenses. With LSU and Auburn and the other teams that they're going to play later in their schedule. So I would watch out for Ty Simpson. Do I think he's going to win the Heisman? Probably not, just because I think Bama's going to drop another game. It might be in the SEC title. They might drop 2 more games. But I do think Alabama is going to be a playoff team unless something completely goes wrong. I mean, if they lose against Tennessee, then maybe not. They still have to play at Auburn, LSU. So I do have Ty Simpson at 4. At 3, and a guy that you could make an argument to be higher on this list is Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. Fernando Mendoza has been absolutely lights out. He was the transfer from Cal coming to Indiana to replace Curtis Rourke, who was a very solid quarterback for the Hoosiers last year. My thing with Fernando Mendoza is same with Curtis Rourke last year. Man, he is just efficient as hell. That whole team is super efficient, and obviously with their specialty being that back shoulder fade, they are getting a lot of these really nice touchdowns and kind of being able to boost stats, especially when you're playing a teams with good secondaries like Oregon when we saw it last week. When they took the lead in the 4th, you had that really nice back shoulder fade that Fernando threw to Elijah Surratt. And talking about Elijah Surratt, he is one of the best receivers in the Big Ten, let alone the entire country. So he has a lot of help on his team to help boost his stats. He is at 1,400 yards. He has the 7th highest rated QBR. And he has 17 touchdowns to 2 picks. So statistically, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. Obviously, they had the giant blowout win against Illinois, and then the dominating win over Oregon, which was 30-20. But if you take out that pick 6 that he threw, they win that game like 30-13. So an absolutely dominating win from Indiana. They have the argument to being maybe one of the top 2 teams in the country. Some people are even making the argument for Indiana to be at number 1. I am not going to buy it that quickly, but we will see with they're hosting Michigan State this week. And the rest of the schedule, they don't really play anybody except for when they go on the road at Penn State. And we will see Penn State. We'll see if they have a rejuvenated offense with their new interim, Terry Smith. But I have Fernando Mendoza at 3. At 2, with the team that is number 2 in the country, that a team that I actually think is overrated. I think this guy is a little bit overrated, and that's Carsen Beck out of Miami. And the reason why I have Carsen Beck above Fernando Mendoza is, one thing, I think he's more veteran, but also remember, the Heisman comes after conference championships. So I have Carsen Beck and Fernando Mendoza. I actually have Fernando Mendoza a little bit above, but I do think Indiana and Fernando Mendoza are going to lose to what you would think would be Ohio State. You would think it would be Ohio State. So I would think that Miami, a team that I definitely think is going to win the ACC, would be like, you would have a 13-0 versus like a 12-1. Or 11-2. I think that Miami team is going to get the edge just because that Miami would probably be undefeated, and I think Indiana would either have 1 or 2 losses. So that's why I have Carsen Beck above. With stats, Carsen Beck actually is 1 place higher with his QBR. He is 6th in the country compared to Fernando Mendoza being 7th. He has 11 touchdowns to 3 picks, but Miami's had a really, not maybe tough, but they have played a quantity of a lot of like decent to like top 15, top 10 opponents. Obviously, they have the win over Notre Dame, which looks really good because Notre Dame is coming back up in the rankings. They're going to host Louisville, and Louisville actually has given them a lot of trouble before. This one is at home, though. But like wins over Florida State, which it's getting worse, but it's a rivalry game on the road. And then they're dominating win over USF, holding that offense that just scored 63 on North Texas to 12 points. I get that's defense, but with complementary football, both sides of the ball kind of boost each other. So I do have Carsen Beck at 2. And at number 1, and the reason why he's at number 1 is because I think he's at number 1 for right now. And I think if they go 13-0 and win the Big Ten with I think his stats will be very similar to what they were last year. And we all know he's the best player. He's going to be on the best team. Do I think he's going to win in the end? I don't know. It might go to Carsen Beck. But I think right now for the best player who's going to be on the best team, and I guess my thing is if Julian Sand, who's not on this list, I kept him off because I didn't want to, I want to give some respect to these other teams. I think Julian Sand is going to be in Heisman contention. And if he is in Heisman contention, Julian Sand is. He's the quarterback on the number 1 team that's undefeated, won the Big Ten, best team in the country. If they're going to consider him to maybe be, you would really think he would be the Heisman favorite. Look at C.J. Stroud, his sophomore year when he first started. He didn't go to the Big Ten title because divisions of the Big Ten were a thing. But I think he had like 41-6, and I don't think Julian will have that good of stats, but I think it'll be good enough to get into that top 4, top 5-ish. And if he is that high in it, you have to put Jeremiah above him because we all know Jeremiah is a better player than Julian, and Jeremiah is the reason why. So if one player can boost if a receiver can boost a quarterback into Heisman talk, then I think that receiver is the bona fide best player in the country, which is why Jeremiah Smith is my Heisman winner after week 7. He is the best player in the country. He is the best offense. He's just the best player in general. He is carrying this team to hopefully another national title. And just for right now, I really think that Jeremiah Smith really has a shot to win the Heisman, at least be in Heisman conversation. Realistically, remember, the Heisman is a quarterback award. And actually, last year, your top 2 weren't quarterbacks. But I really just think that they're not going to give, maybe next year, hopefully next year. I don't think they're going to give it to him this year. But just for right now, after week 7, Jeremiah Smith is the best player in the country and should be at the top of the Heisman odds. Bias or not, whatever. I really believe in Jeremiah Smith. So recapping, some of our honorable mentions, we had guys like Trinidad Chambliss, Julian Sand, I'm trying to think you can even say John Mateer, Haynes King. But at 5 was Marcel Reed. At 4 is Ty Simpson from Alabama. Marcel Reed is from A&M. At 3 is Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. At number 2 is Carsen Beck, the quarterback out of Miami. And at the number 1 spot is the Ohio State's wide receiver 1, Jeremiah Smith. So that is my week 7 Heisman predictions of what I think are the best players after week 7. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications so you get a notification every single time I release a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow for my preview of Ohio State versus Wisconsin. So don't forget to stay tuned for that coming out tomorrow. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you then. Thank you.